Okay. Hello, yes, sir. My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have completed our first section, okay, already, and we have started the chapter number 4. Okay. So sorry. Okay. Okay. Hello, yes, sir. I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have started our second section, and in that second section, we have seen that part number first, that is chapter number 4, introduction to quality. So in that we have seen some definition of the quality, then elements, quality specification of factors affecting on quality of design, then quality of conformance, quality control, and quality cost, as well as quality value. Okay. So whatever that remaining part, that is chapter part number 2, we have divided two part. So second part, that is the benchmarking, quality management system, environmental management system. Okay. So that three part is a remaining, and that is a very important as per any organization. So means whatever that you are going to produce in your company as a product, so for that product we have to make some standards, and we have to make some separate quality management system where we are going to checking the all the quality related to that products. Okay. And during this manufacturing of that product, we have to take care during the environmental management system. So that 3 points we are discussing in this chapter number 4, part number second. Okay. So now you can see here, we will start that second part. Okay. So now you can see benchmarking. So benchmarking is it simply one, it is a one simple process where we have to set one standards for comparing our products. Okay. So comparing our part product, you can say anything. Just we have to, for our reference, we are going to comparing one of the standards that is called as a benchmarking. So there are a lot of definitions regarding the different authors as per their concern or our concern. We have to manage the that benchmarking process. So here one word is there in Japan, danto tusu, that means striving for the best. Okay, तर चांगल्यासाठी प्रयत्नशील राहणे, that is called as a just a benchmarking. It is one of the word in a Japanese language. So striving for best, just चांगल्यासाठी फक्त प्रयत्नशील राहणे, म्हणजे आपल्याला आउटपुट कसा पाहिजे, चांगला पाहिजे. मग त्याच्यासाठी आपण काय फक्त प्रयत्नशील राहायचं. मग त्याच्यासाठीच एक प्रोसेस आहे बेंचमार्किंग. जर आपल्याला आपला प्रोडक्ट चांगला हवा असेल, चांगल्या क्वालिटीचा हवा असेल, तर आपण त्याला काहीतरी स्टँडर्ड प्रोसिजर सेट करायची, जसे की बेंच मार्किंग. बेंच मार्किंग म्हणजे काय? तर तुम्ही एखादा प्रोडक्ट मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग करत असाल, तर तो मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग केलेला प्रोडक्ट चांगला किंवा बरोबर आहे किंवा चांगल्या क्वालिटीचा आहे हे कसं कळणार? तर त्याच्यासाठी काहीतरी इनिशियली आपल्याला एक स्टँडर्ड सेट करावं लागेल. मग आपण काय करायचं, एक स्टँडर्ड सेट करायचं आणि त्याच्याशी कम्पेअर करून आपला प्रोडक्ट कसा चांगला करता येईल, बेस्ट कसा करता येईल, हे प्रयत्न करायचा. त्या प्रोसेसला काय म्हणायचं? बेंच मार्किंग. ओके. सो इट इज वन ऑफ द सिस्टमॅटिक मेथड बाय विच organization can measure themselves against the best industry practices. Okay. So in this definition, simply they are trying to saying a simple definition, simple explanation regarding the benchmarking. So it is the one of the systematic method. Okay. म्हणजे ही एक सिस्टमॅटिक मेथड आहे. असं काही नाही की म्हणजे आपण घेतलं केलं काय, त्याला ट्रेडमार्क नाहीये. ही एक सिस्टमॅटिक मेथड आहे, ज्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला स्वतःच्या प्रोडक्टला तुम्ही एक मेजर करता, कम्पेअर करता एका स्टँडर्ड्स बरोबर, जे इंडस्ट्रीनं ऑलरेडी त्याच्यावरती भरपूर रिसर्च केलाय, प्रॅक्टिस केलेत. असं आपण स्टँडर्ड सेट करतो, त्याच्याशी आपण आपल्याच प्रोडक्टला आपण काय करतो, अजून बेस्ट करण्याचा प्रयत्न करतो. ओके. The secret to benchmarking techniques is borrow, adopt, refine the best attributes for continuous growth and development. तुमच्या प्रोडक्टची जर कंटिन्युअस तुम्हाला ग्रोथ अँड डेव्हलपमेंट हवी असेल, तर एक सिक्रेट अडॉप्ट, रिफाईन. बॉरो म्हणजे काय करणे, जे काही वेगवेगळ्या टेक्निक्स आहेत त्या अडॉप्ट करणे, चांगल्या टेक्निक्स अडॉप्ट करणे बेंचमार्किंगसाठी. रिफाईन, त्याच्यावरती रिसर्च करून चांगलं अजून कसं करता येईल. रिफाईन म्हणजे अजून चांगलं, म्हणजे आपण त्यात चांगलं असेल तर अजून त्याच्या पुढे जाऊन एक पाऊल चांगलं कसं करता येईल, हे टेक्निक यूज करून तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंगचं टेक्निक यूज करून तुम्ही काय करू शकता, त्या प्रोडक्टमध्ये कंटिन्युअस ग्रोथ आणि कंटिन्युअस डेव्हलपमेंट करू शकता. ओके. सो दिस इज अबाउट सम डेफिनेशन, सम डिफरंट डिफरंट techniques we are using in during this benchmarking. So one of the second thing, that is the benchmarking. There are actually two type of benchmarking. One is internal, second is external. Okay. So means word itself indicates internal means आतल्या आत, external म्हणजे बाहेर, असं नाही. ठीक आहे. म्हणजे तुम्ही जर तसं घेतलं तर बघा, बेंच मार्किंग, इंटरनल बेंच मार्किंग मीन्स सपोज वी आर हॅव्हिंग वन ऑफ द ओनर ऑफ द वन ऑफ द ऑर्गनायझेशन, अँड we are doing a benchmarking for in our organization only, our company only, means आपल्याच कंपनी मधील प्रोडक्ट मध्ये आपणच कम्पेअर करून आपण आहे त्याच्यापेक्षा अजून चांगलं कसं होता येईल हे बघतोय. That is called as internal benchmarking. Okay. But second, that is the external benchmarking, means we are trying to do benchmarking with another company, another organization, a best product with our product. Okay. So our product will be improvised after some time to time with the help of this external benchmarking. Okay. We are just comparing with higher level company, organization, product, we can call it as a growth. So it will be helpful for us to improving our product design quality. Okay. So benchmarking is a very essential part for any organization, for current growth and future growth also, for not only product but it also organization level also. Okay. So this is called as a benchmarking. So this is just a start of the benchmarking, where we are going to see some methods of the benchmarking and how it will be works in the any organization. So that things we will see in details afterwards. But now we will see one a short video regarding the benchmarking. What is mean by benchmarking? What are the types of the benchmarking? What are the some advantages and disadvantages? So I request Yasar, please just share that video through the share screen and the tab. So I request all of you just pin the Yasar screen.
Methodologies to make their product a success. One such method they follow is this benchmarking, which is one of the most widely used tool across the business strategy tools used across industries. So this video will talk about what is benchmarking, why benchmarking is important, the typical process of benchmarking, different types of benchmarking which are used across industries, and some common advantages and disadvantages of benchmarking. So without wasting any further time, let's start our today's topic on benchmarking. So what is benchmarking? Benchmarking is a process of comparing your own organization, its operations, processes against the best in the industry. The dimensions that are typically measured during benchmarking include time, cost, and quality. Typically, we should have all these things, that is a good, cheap, and fast. That is a good product, cheap product, and the fast product. But that is not practically possible. So we will stick to either good or cheap or good or fast. The intent here is to generate ideas for improving the process, generate ideas to reduce the cost and increase the profit, and reduce and strengthen the customer loyalty and satisfaction. Simply put together, a benchmarking is a process of obtaining a measure called benchmark. These measurements don't have much value on their own. That is, the data needs to be compared against some sort of standard, that is the benchmark. For example, suppose it takes 30 minutes to produce your own product. So is the 30-minute measurement good or bad? The only way for you to know is to compare against the other data, such as the time it takes the other organization to produce a similar product. If the other organization can produce the same type of product in less than 30 minutes, then you can use the time as a benchmark for measuring your own process and procedures. Simply put together, benchmarks are the what's and benchmarking is the how. So benchmarking can be applied against any product, process, function, or an approach in any business.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
Let us now understand the process of benchmarking. Benchmarking is not an immediate solution to your problem. Instead, it is a step-by-step treatment of your problem areas. Let us understand this process of benchmarking step by step. The first step is select the process to benchmark. That means there is the first step to identify which benchmarking indicators are fundamental to your business. Here you will be dedicating a lot of time and effort and improving them. So it is prudent to prioritize based on what is important to your stakeholders here. This will define the scope of your benchmarking. So you might end up selecting one or two critical indicators. Determine what who do you want to benchmark against. That is, whether you want to benchmark against a competitor, a company outside the industry, or within the company. So you can prepare a list of those potential businesses against which matches your scope that you have defined in the step 1. You can also benchmark against your own company past processes. Next is to determine your current process. This will help you specify which areas needs improvement. It will also make it easier to examine and compare them against the competitors or the internal past processes as required. Next step is to collect and analyze the data. You can start the research on your competitors' best practices through formal interviews, informal interviews, and questionnaires. You can also acquire information through websites, blogs, public reports, marketing materials, and new articles. After you complete your research, you can begin analyzing this data that you have collected. So once you have collected and analyzed the data, it is time to now to create a plan. So after you have analyzed your processes against the competitors, You need to identify what needs to be amended to close the performance gap with the competitor. Then you need to create a plan to implement those changes. The plan should not only cover any gaps that you have identified with respect to competitors, but also an opportunity to brainstorm the measures that are required to get ahead of competition. So once we have created this plan, it is time to implement the changes. After implementation, monitor the changes employees' performance thoroughly over the period of specified time. If there are new processes being introduced, make sure your staff is well trained and have an expertise to complete their task. Identify any changes that needs to be made to plan to successfully implement this process. And then we have to repeat this process. That is, after you have successfully implemented this new process, you have to repeat the process. If any modification is needed, you can tweak your initial plan and implement them again. Otherwise, consult your initial list of those which needs to be benchmarked. So it is not an ending process. So it is a continuous process. That means you constantly evaluate your processes and benchmark them against the best that will allow you not only to improve again and again, but also to overshadow your competitors.
यस कहिए मेरा
Types of benchmarking. Typically, they are of two categories: internal benchmarking and external benchmarking. Internal benchmarking is like comparing the performance between the different groups or teams within the organization. And external benchmarking is like comparing the performance with different companies or across industries. Within these broad categories, there are other specific categories of benchmarking, which are like process benchmarking, product benchmarking, competitive benchmarking, strategic benchmarking, and performance benchmarking. Process benchmarking. So process benchmarking is done by collecting information about the other company's strategies, their processes through research, visiting their website, through their workshop conducted by other companies. Next is the product benchmarking, which is nothing but based on the reverse engineering concept. That is, here an organization would purchase some competitor's product, break it down into pieces to know their various features and the performance ability. By this, they would improve their own product by analyzing the basic working mechanism of other product in the market. Competitive benchmarking. So competitive benchmarking is used when the company wants to evaluate its position within its industry. In addition, competitive benchmarking is used when a company needs to identify industry leadership performance targets. Strategic benchmarking. So strategic benchmarking, in this case, they would compare the winning strategies of companies in the marketplace. It is used when identifying and analyzing the world-class performance here. And finally, we have the performance benchmarking. So in performance benchmarking, it allows the initiator firm to access their competitive positions by comparing product and services with those of the target firms. So these are the types of benchmarking we can talk about.
Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Ratan Tata, Birla, Ambani's. What
Let us look at some typical advantages and disadvantages of benchmarking. The first advantage that we have is the competitive analysis. It helps company to design its strategy efficiently. Monitor performance. It helps the company to look at the current trends in the market. Continuous improvement. It helps company to create an overall quality of output and reduce the chance of error due to the standardization of the business operations. Helps in improving the overall efficiency. It encourages the ownership between the employees. And last but not the least is understanding your company advantages. That means we can do a SWOT analysis to understand what is the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So this benchmarking basically helps identifying where your company is right now compared to where you want to go. So if you're looking at improving any process in your business, benchmarking is a way of looking at add and improve your process. Even though these are some very good advantages of benchmarking, but we do have some disadvantages as well. High cost. So it requires a team of experienced persons who have excellent analytical skills and expertise in this area. That means you need to hire guys who are more experienced in performing these tools. Overall, it leads to increased administrative costs and expenses to the company. Even the implementation of this benchmarking would require some capital expenditure at some times. It is just a mere suggestion. That means benchmarking only suggests you to improve on weak factors. Everything is pure suggestion here and does not give you any straight answers for your issues. Some of the best practices won't be applicable to the whole organization.
This was me right after I started my business. You see, starting my business.
Incorrect comparison. It demands a comparison between two or more companies belonging to the same industry and compete with each other. But sometimes the companies make irrelevant comparison resulting in a poor benchmarking. So benchmarking fails when it is not properly implemented. Some organizations don't understand the actual purpose of this strategy and start copying their competitors in every aspect. Results shown are just mere numbers. That means the result comparison or the profit rate of other organizations are just mere numbers. This simply implies that it will help you look at the outer but nothing deep into the business strategy of other organizations. Benchmarking only produces rough data, and it is not only the team or the board members who have to concentrate, but the whole team has to work on this thing.
Hello, yeah, sir. You can stop the sharing the screen. Okay. So we have seen that what is mean by benchmarking and what are the different processes of the benchmarking and some disadvantages and advantages. Okay. So now you have understood in better way what is mean by benchmarking. Okay. So next point is benchmarking at several levels. Okay. So there are three to four levels. So that level we have to do a benchmarking. Okay. Okay. So one by one we will see. So first is the perception benchmarking assessment. Okay. So there is a internal issue. What people think about internal management means the type first type of the level, that is a perception means आपले त्या दुसऱ्याबद्दलचे विचार मीन्स त्या लोकांच्या असणारे त्या कंपनी बद्दलचे विचार. Like this, these are some internal issues that employees having some different thoughts regarding their organization, and what people think about the internal management. Whatever management are doing some decisions, for the decisions some people are thinking different ways. And quality improvement process. So what are the whatever that product we are going to manufacturing, so regarding that product improvement processes, which parameter are important, that also discussion happen. So for that it reveals information about the company's current performance levels. म्हणजे हा जो काय बेंचमार्किंगचा जो काय पहिला लेवल आहे, याच्यामध्ये काय होतं की तुमची कंपनी आता कुठल्या लेवलला आहे ते त्यातून आयडेंटिफाय होतं. ठीक आहे. कारण की जर तुमच्या कंपनीमध्ये तुमचे जर वर्कर, तुमचे जर एम्प्लॉईज, तुमचे जे काही लोक असतील, मॅनेजर असतील, ते जर कंपनीबद्दल चांगलं बोलत असतील, चांगला विचार करत असतील, तर डेफिनेटली तुमचा परफॉर्मन्स, ओव्हरऑल परफॉर्मन्स हा चांगलाच असेल. ठीक आहे. तर हे इथं अशा ठिकाणी जर हे जर होत नसेल तर ह्या ठिकाणी आपला बेंचमार्कच्या असेसमेंटची गरज आहे. जेणेकरून आपलं आयडेंटिफाय व्हॉट एव्हर द defects in terms of the people thinking, in terms of the performance, that time we have to do some internal benchmark assessment. Okay. Second is a compliance benchmark assessment. So in that compliance benchmark assessment, how company is currently performing against the published standards. याच्यामध्ये आपण काय चेक करतो, जे ऑलरेडी मार्केटमध्ये पब्लिश झालेल्या गोष्टी म्हणजे लॉन्च झालेले जे काही पार्ट प्रोडक्ट आहेत त्यांना स्टँडर्ड धरून आपण काय करतो, आपल्या कंपनीचे प्रोडक्ट तिथे काय करतो आपण बेंचमार्क करतो आणि त्यावेळेस आपल्या कंपनीचा परफॉर्मन्स काय आहे ते आपण चेक करतो. म्हणजे आपल्याला कळतं की आपली कंपनी आता कुठल्या स्टेजला आहे, आपल्याला किती इम्प्रोवाइज करायची गरज आहे परफॉर्मन्स मध्ये आणि त्या क्वालिटीमध्ये. ओके, सो दिस इज द सेकंड टाइप ऑफ द लेवल बेंचमार्किंग लेवल. Third type is a effectiveness benchmark assessment. In this level, it verifies the company compliance with the requirement. जे काही रिक्वायरमेंट आहेत कस्टमर कडून त्या प्रोडक्टच्या रिलेटेड ते आपण अचीव करतोय का नाही ते ह्या लेवलमध्ये समजते. जे काय कस्टमरच्या रिक्वायरमेंट नीड नुसार आपण तो प्रोडक्ट क्वालिटीचा केलाय का नाही ते ऍक्च्युली ते चेक होतंय. And has effective system in place to ensure that the requirement are being fulfilled. आणि ती रिक्वायरमेंट फुलफिल झाली का नाही ती आपल्याला ह्या लेवल मधून अंडरस्टँड होते. नेक्स्ट लेवल 4 दॅट इज अ कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रूव्हमेंट assessment. So it verifies that the quality is an integral and permanent fact of organization. याच्यावरून कंटिन्यू इम्प्रुव्हमेंट म्हणजे काय, जे काय तुमच्या कंपनीचा ग्राफ आहे कंटिन्यू इम्प्रुव्हमेंटचा म्हणजे ड्युरिंग द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट, आफ्टर द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द दॅट प्रोडक्ट. सो युअर कंपनी ग्राफ should be increased in terms of the growth and development. So in this level we can just verify our product quality with integral and permanent fact. Okay, म्हणजे हे आपलं कायमच्याच गोष्टी आहेत. आपल्या कंपनीमध्ये जे काही प्रोडक्शन आहे त्याच्या रिलेटेड आपण इथं इम्प्रुव्हमेंटचं व्हेरीफाय करू शकतो की हा ठीक आहे आपल्या कंपनीचा प्रोडक्ट हा पाठीमागं पण चांगला होता, आता पण आहे आणि पुढे पण आपण त्याची क्वालिटी एन्श्योर करू शकतो. दॅट so this type of the level are there some benchmarking. So that level we will implement in our internal part, that is the organization part, for improvement of the overall organization. Next is a benchmarkers guide. How to do benchmarking? So that is a big question. Okay, so there are some guide is there. So like simple question, first question means from the basic, what is the benchmarking? Then next, what is the use of this benchmarking and how it will be work for any organization, and what is the procedure for this? So simple question is there. So for that there is some benchmark guide is there. So same like we are just selling the one of the our product. So along with that product we are sending one manual guide. Okay, in that manual guide we are providing each and everything details regarding that product, so that will be easy for the customer who are going to use that product. So that will be refer that once they will refer that manual, so he or she will be understanding in better way. Like this way, in organization, before doing the benchmarking we have to do one manual guide for the benchmarking. So each and everyone will go through that manual, and once they understood the process of the benchmarking, so it will be easy for the doing the benchmarking at any level in organization. So we will just go through a small guide, benchmark guide. So first is do not go on the fishing expedition. Okay, what is the meaning of that fishing expedition? म्हणजे तुम्ही असं आउटपुटचं होप आशा ठेवायच्या नाहीत. तर इथं फक्त होप्स ठेवून चालत नाही. ठीक आहे, तर याच्यामध्ये काय आहे, तुम्हाला ऍक्च्युली काम करायला पाहिजे. फक्त तुम्ही होप ठेवून कुठलीही कामं होत नाहीत. ओके, दॅट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप ऑफ द बेंचमार्किंग. Second, send out the people who will have to make the changes. Okay, don't take directly meaning of the send out the people. We are not going to firing the any people in our organization. So just those who are want to change in that procedure. Okay, So that people we are sending out in that our benchmarking team, be prepared to exchange information. Before using that benchmarking, we have to ready to change the all the information regarding that part. Okay, if that part is going to be not achieve our standard level, then and then only you have to go for the change the information. Otherwise you don't need to change the any information in database. Avoid legal problems during the benchmarking. Don't allow that legal problems. You have to just follow the standard method whatever we have said earlier for making benchmarking. So avoid legal problems. Respect the confidentiality of the data you obtained. Whatever you have obtained during this benchmarking data, you have to do some respect of that data. Otherwise some people are just sending that confidential data in organization, they are sending the other organization for their personal benefits. Okay, so don't do that such bad things in any organization. You have to loyal with that organization, you have to respect that data. Okay, so these are the some 4 to 5 just common guidelines for the benchmarking. So there are a lot of things during the doing the benchmarking. Okay, so like any product, we have to just make one simple manual guidelines for the that a product like this way. We have to make the one simple manual for this benchmarking. Okay, so benchmarking is a very very essential part for every organization. You can take our example also. Suppose we have to make one of the our benchmarking product. So we have to keep in mind a standard level, top level, and looking that standard level, we have to achieve our goal. Okay, so once we will do work like that, so we will achieve our a good quality product with a less price. Okay, so that is the work of the benchmarking, and this is the importance of the benchmarking for improvising our earlier product. So this is the benefits of this benchmarking. Okay, now you can see here the benchmarking one image is showing. So in that this benchmarking, uh, before doing benchmarking and after doing benchmarking. Okay, here left side's block, top side, what is our performance level, how do we, and here what are others performance levels, how did they get. आपला आता चालूचा परफॉर्मन्स काय आहे आणि त्यांचा परफॉर्मन्स दुसऱ्यांचा. सपोज विल टेक द वन ऑफ द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ द अदर ऑर्गनायझेशन ऍज अ कॉम्पिटिटर. ओके, तर त्यांचा परफॉर्मन्स लेवल आता काय आहे आणि त्यांनी ती कशी मिळवली. ठीक आहे, आणि आपण कशी मिळवू. ओके, through this benchmarking we can just creative adapt the creative things, and we will use these benchmarking techniques, and we will achieve a higher improvisation through this benchmarking. कसं, जसं आपण आता बोललो बेंचमार्किंग कसं करायचं, बेंचमार्किंग म्हणजे काय, त्याचं काम कसं होतं आणि त्याचं इम्पॉर्टन्स काय. आपण जर समजा आता एखाद्या लेवल, आता समजा आपण 5 लेवल धरू, 1 2 3 4 5. 5 is a top level, 1 is a bottom level. Okay, like this, suppose we are now in 3 level. Okay, and our other competitor organization, they are on a 4 level. So we will take our as a standard that company. Okay, so we are going to comparing with that organization. So initially we are taking the standard of the that organization, those who are having a 4 standards, and currently we are having 3 standards. We want to achieve the 4 standards or more than this. Okay, so how to achieve that standard level 4. Okay, so initially we will keep as our competitor our standard, that organization, those who are having a 4 standards. So we will start using benchmarking by keeping the standards of that organization, and we will do whatever requirement to achieve that level 4. New techniques, new machineries, skilled perform worker, employees. Okay, and we will, once you adopt that new techniques through this benchmarking procedure, and we will achieve that level 4. Okay, once you achieve the level 4, so your standard must be changed. Okay, once you achieve your previous standards, you have to change your standard level, those who are having more than 4. Okay, then and then only you can improvise your design, your quality of the product. Okay, and overall the improvisation of your organization. So this is one of the flowchart here. You can just uh, understand the procedure, best procedure of the benchmarking. So simply you have to just compare with your best competitor as a your standards, and you can just achieve their level. Once you achieve their level, you can again set a higher target. Okay, so this is just one simple procedure here. They are trying to understand, they are giving information regarding the how we achieve the uh, a good quality product or output or modification in our current product. So next, that is a process of the benchmarking. So there are some basic procedures of the benchmarking, doing the benchmarking. So now you can see here, this is the process of the benchmarking algorithm is there. So now you can see the numbering is given. So first number is a establish the need of the benchmarking. Okay, benchmarking ची गरज काय आहे? The first question comes from your organization. What is need for you doing a benchmarking? सध्याला तुम्हाला गरज काय आहे? का करताय तुम्ही benchmarking? So once from this question, because we are just doing a product, so we have to do some unit price, so that will be beneficial for customer as well as for your more profit. Okay, so first try to understand what is need of the benchmarking. तुम्हाला benchmarking का करायचंय? तुम्हाला का करायचंय तर तुम्हाला तुमच्या प्रोडक्टचं क्वालिटी अजून ठीक आहे, इम्प्रोव्हायझेशन करायचंय म्हणून तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग करताय. दॅट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप, फर्स्ट प्रोसेस ऑफ द बेंचमार्किंग. सेकंड इज आयडेंटिफाय द फंक्शन्स टू बी बेंचमार्कड. तुम्हाला जे बेंचमार्किंग ज्या प्रोडक्टचं करायचं आहे त्याचं फंक्शन तुम्ही समजून घेतलं पाहिजे स्टार्टिंगला. ओके, त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला काय करावं लागतंय? डेव्हलप ASIS मॉडेल. ASIS मॉडेल मीन्स बायर्स बाईंग, सेलर सेलिंग. ओके, विकत घेणारे विकत घेतात, विकणारे विकत असतात. ठीक आहे, असं तुम्हाला एक मॉडेल तयार करायचंय तुमच्या डिपार्टमेंट, तुमच्या ऑर्गनायझेशनचं. आणि एकदा का तुम्ही प्रोडक्शन कंप्लीट केल्यानंतर पर्चेसिंग डिपार्टमेंट, दॅट in market, we have to find out some buyers, okay, and sellers. Throughout that sellers, you are just selling your product. Okay, so you have to develop one that model, one separate unit for that AI ASIS. And first you have to find out the basic need of the benchmarking. After that you have to find out the functions of that to be benchmarked. कशासाठी करताय ते, आणि याच्यानंतर तुम्हाला ते मॉडेल डेव्हलप करायचं. थर्ड, सिलेक्ट द सुपेरियर परफॉर्मन्स, दॅट इज अ कॉम्पिटेटिव्ह, नॉन कॉम्पिटेटिव्ह. तुम्ही कोणाशी करताय बेंचमार्किंग त्याचा कंपोनंट तुम्हाला सिलेक्ट करणं खूप महत्वाचं आहे. यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू सिलेक्ट द एनी ऑर्गनायझेशन दोज हू आर बिलो फ्रॉम युअर साइड. You are always going to select your competitor as a your higher organization or higher competitor. Okay, तुमच्यापेक्षा जास्त वरती असणाऱ्याच त्याच गोष्टीला तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग साठी सिलेक्ट कराल. ठीक आहे. फोर्थ, कलेक्ट द डेटा अँड अनालाइज फॉर पिन पॉइंटिंग गॅप्स इन परफॉर्मन्स, प्रोसेसेस अँड प्रॅक्टिसेस. ज्या कंपनीशी तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग करणार आहे, ज्या कंपनीमध्ये तुम्ही ऍज अ स्टँडर्ड सेट करणार आहे, त्यांचं काय करा, डेटा कलेक्शन करा, starting phase. Afterwards you can just start doing the analysis and make a pinpointing, some do the highlighting at the main points, find out the gap in a such a way. You can take the example of the performance, your performance and their performance, your design data, their design data. your processes, their processes, your practices and their practices, and start comparing these such a things in a such a manner that you will easily find out the gap, whatever that huge gap between your and their processes, planning, initial planning and a final planning. Okay, so that is the first stage where we have to do a huge work on this collection of the data and analyze of the data. Okay, fifth one is set a performance goal for improving and surpassing the best in a class. Whatever, once you get the gap between your and their organization, then you have to set a new goals to achieve the new your performance. So according to the gap, previous gap, you have to set new goals for improvising yourself, your product, your organization, how to surpassing that previous standard. Okay, so it will be possible when you are just trying to adapt, trying to implement that new goals, techniques to achieve that a new uh, height. Okay, so new standards. So doing this, setting these goals side by side, you have to develop to be model. Okay, means whatever you are going to develop a new standards, for that you have to make a to be model, म्हणजे तुमच्यापेक्षा अजून जास्त स्टँडर्ड असणारा सेट करायचं. ठीक आहे, त्यानं काय होईल, तुम्ही जे काय डेव्हलप केलं AIS बायर्स बाईंग सेलर सेलिंग, त्याच्यामध्ये आणि तुम्ही केलेल्या टार्गेट मध्ये याच्यामध्ये परत कम्पॅरिझन होईल. ओके, म्हणजे तुमच्या प्रोडक्टचं अजून अजून इम्प्रुव्हमेंट होतंय. ठीक आहे. फिफ्थ वन, परफॉर्मन्स सेट झाल्यानंतर तुम्ही नवीन टू बी सेट केलं, नंतर ते आणि ASIS कम्पेअर केल्यानंतर सिक्स स्टेज काय आहे, आयडेंटिफाय द गॅप्स अँड डिवाइस वेज टू ब्रिज इट. म्हणजे परत this cycle will repeat on the such a previous manner. So again we have to compare, identify the gaps between our new developed performance and we have setting new our standards, and again we have to make some new bridges to achieve them. And last stage is implement the plan to bridge the gaps and monitor results. परत काय करायचं, ह्याच्यामध्ये परत अजून काय गॅप सापडलेत, त्याच्यासाठी परत काय करायचं, नवीन प्लॅन इम्प्लिमेंट करायचा आणि ते गॅप भरून निघाले पाहिजे. आणि परत वी हॅव टू मॉनिटर दॅट रिझल्ट फेअर वी हॅव डन न्यू स्टँडर्ड्स अँड व्हॉट एव्हर वी हॅव अचिव्ड न्यू स्टँडर्ड्स. in between this we have to again find out some monitoring results, and according to that again we have to follow this uh, graph from the first start of the. So we have to repeat these cycles until we have to achieve just new standards in time to time period. Okay, जसं जसं आपल्याला एकदा आपण नवीन इम्प्रोमाइज केलं, लेवल 2 मधनं 3 मध्ये गेलो, 3 मधनं 4 मध्ये गेलो, परत 5 मध्ये कसं जाता येईल त्याच्यासाठी परत ही सायकल आपल्याला रिपीट करायची. ठीक आहे, दिस इज अ continuous improvement benchmarking process where you will achieve your product with improvising level, and you will get a new product design as well as new product quality. Okay, हे काय आहे, कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रुव्हायझिंग टेक्निक आहे. बेंचमार्किंग हे काय आहे, तुम्ही जसं जसं एकदा पुढे जाल, ही लेवल अचीव केली की परत पुढची लेवल लाईक दिस वे यू विल गेट जस्ट न्यू हाइट्स. ओके, तर ही कसं आहे, फक्त प्रत्येक वेळेस तुम्हाला काहीतरी नवीन नवीन अचीव करता येतात. ठीक आहे. नेक्स्ट इज जनरल एरियाज ऑफ द बेंचमार्किंग. वेअर बेंचमार्किंग कुठं करू शकतो आपण. ठीक आहे, एक जनरल एरियाज विभाग सांगतात की ह्या ठिकाणी तुम्ही करू शकता. operational strategies. Okay, so in that operational strategies you can do the benchmarking in inventory management and inventory control. Okay, so inventory management, inventory control. So inventory, you might be heard this word in last semester also and this semester also. So inventory means we are just going to store whatever required of the raw material for required our production. So inventory in a such a manner we have to store, not only storing means inventory, we have to supply right material at right place at right machine. Okay, योग्य वेळी योग्य जागी आणि योग्य तो मटेरियल त्यावेळेस पोहोचवायचं. म्हणजे उगीच स्टोरेज करायचे म्हणून एक 4 महिन्याचं आपण मटेरियल आणून ठेवत नाही. इन्व्हेंटरी म्हणजे काय, चालू प्रोसेस मध्ये फक्त त्याला ऑफ नाही पडून द्यायचं, अशी इन्व्हेंटरी करायची. म्हणजे पुढल्या 2 दिवसाची 4 दिवसाची. ठीक आहे. तुम्ही जास्त इन्व्हेंटरी केली तर तुमचा तोटा आहे. कसा, तर तुम्ही वेस्टेज ऑफ द मनी म्हणजे इन्व्हेस्टमेंट फक्त तुम्ही जास्त करून ठेवाल. ठीक आहे, तसं नाही करायचं. गुड इन्व्हेंटरी काय म्हणजे तुम्ही योग्य वेळी योग्य मटेरियल योग्य त्या मशीन मध्ये पोहोचवणे. ओके, तर अशा ठिकाणी तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग करू शकता. हा तुमचा एरिया आहे ऑपरेशनल स्ट्रॅटेजी मध्ये. परत कुठला, मार्केटिंग मॅनेजमेंट. इन दॅट मार्केटिंग मॅनेजमेंट यू कॅन डू दिस बेंचमार्किंग इन कस्टमर सर्व्हिस लेवल. ठीक आहे. आता कस्टमर सर्व्हिस लेवल आपण जे काही प्रोडक्ट वॉट एव्हर वी आर गोइंग टू डू मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग ऑफ द एनी प्रोडक्ट, आफ्टर दॅट प्रोडक्शन वी आर गोइंग टू जस्ट selling that product to the customer. Okay, once you sold the product to the customer, again we have to take care of that customer through the services of that product. So once you starting the servicing of that product, okay, so we have to do the benchmarking regarding that the services of that product. Means how to improvise our services to the customer. कंप्लेंट आली तेव्हा तुम्हाला कॉल केला, तुम्ही गेला सर्व्हिस द्यायला. ठीक आहे, फर्स्ट सर्व्हिस हॅज सक्सेसफुली कंप्लीट. त्याच्यातून तुम्हाला कस्टमरचा फीडबॅक येईल की सर्व्हिस कशी झाली. ठीक आहे. if suppose that service is gone some good level or not good level, so that customer will give some feedback. So from that feedback set a new target again, new standard for the next services, and you will just try to do benchmarking here and try to achieve the good service throughout this benchmarking. Okay, same way in purchasing department also, billing and collection department also, purchasing practices. Okay, so these are the some areas where you can do the benchmarking with effective manner and try to improvise your services, your billing data, your collection of the data. That type of the benchmarking you can do with best manner. Okay, so these are the some general areas. Then in the quality improvement efforts processes, management of the quality council, whatever the management doing the planning for the improvising the quality of the products, so that planning they are just including some algorithms. So in that algorithm there are two possibilities. One is once that process is going to correct, yes, then you can just follow the further path. If no, then again you have to go for the first stage, you have to correct it, and again you have to go for the next stage. So in this stage you have to do the you can do the benchmarking with a different manner. You can use the different techniques, some modern techniques, and you can just do benchmarking and give a different solution in the management council. Okay, for improving the quality. Then overall equipment effectiveness, whatever you are going to using the any machineries, any components, equipments for the making productions. Okay, so you have to find out actually that components, that machineries is effective, is it effective for that making the production. If yes, no problem. If not, you have to do some analysis, you have to go for the benchmarking. बेंचमार्किंग का करायचं, तर ते कंपोनंट आहे का बाबा इफेक्टिव्ह, नाहीतर त्याची कॉस्ट तेवढी आणि त्याच्या मनात तो आउटपुट पण देत नाही. तर तुम्हाला काय करायला पाहिजे, त्याच्यामध्ये मॉडिफिकेशन करावं लागेल. ओके, आणि त्याच्यासाठी काय करणार तुम्ही, बेंचमार्किंग. नेक्स्ट इज HR practices. So in the talent acquisition search, you have to hiring some new candidates, those who are having some modern techniques, those who are having some modern knowledges regarding that organization production. So you have to just hiring new talented students. So for that purpose, searching the talent students, you have to do the again benchmarking. Means suppose for 10 people are going to give the interview for one position. So it is quite difficult if that 10 students are having near about same talent. So you have to just find out the only one person. So at this time you can do the benchmarking. Okay, you can just set one standards and you can try to compare that all 10 students with that standards, and you will get your best output. Okay, so like this way you can use this benchmarking in this area also. Then training and development, then compensation management. Compensation management means you might be know the meaning of this compensation words. आता झालेल्या न झालेल्या गोष्टी परत आपल्याला त्या कधीतरी घ्याव्या लागतात, आणि त्या आहे त्या शेड्यूल मधून सोडून दुसऱ्या टायमिंग मध्ये. ओके, सपोज कंपनीचं एक एकाची कंपनीची ऑर्डर आली कंपनीला की आम्हाला एका महिन्यामध्ये 100 प्रोडक्ट्स मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग करून पाहिजे. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे सपोज डेली काय असेल कोटा त्यांचा, 100 युनिट दिले असतील तर रोज किती येतील, 3 घेतले तर किती होतात, 3 90, एक घेतला तर किती होतात, 3 घेतले तर ठीक आहे 90 होतात ना, तर काहीतरी येतील 33 करून घ्यावं लागेल. मग त्याच्यासाठी बेंचमार्किंग. ओके, सो लाईक दिस वी हॅव टू डू द बेंचमार्किंग फॉर this area also. Then supply chain management, warehousing and distribution. Warehousing means whatever your storage of the finishing goods and distribution. Okay, so these are the some areas where you can do the benchmarking. Next point is factors to be kept in mind to ensure success with benchmarking. ओके, हे जे काय खालचे दिलेले काही वेगवेगळे फॅक्टर्स आहेत हे लक्षात ठेवून तुम्ही एक चांगलं बेंचमार्किंग करू शकता, हे गॅरंटेड आहे. बेंचमार्किंग मस्ट हॅव द फुल सपोर्ट ऑफ सिनियर मॅनेजमेंट and they should have actively involved with this process. Okay, so benchmarking, it is just a rough process where we have to do the benchmarking in our internal organization level. ओके, ह्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला तुमच्या सिनियरचा सपोर्ट, स्टाफचा, मॅनेजमेंटचा सपोर्ट पाहिजे. सगळ्यात महत्वाचा, तुम्ही स्वतः निर्णय घेऊ शकत नाही. देन ते ह्या सिस्टीम मध्ये जे काय तुम्ही तुमचं प्रोडक्शन करताय, आणि तुम्हाला सपोज ऍज अ यू आर सपोज वन ऑफ द इंजिनियर, वन ऑफ द सिनियर इंजिनियर in that organization, and you want to just improvise the design and quality of that product. So this is your thought only, but you have to uh, convey that message to your organization head, and you have to give some uh, rough and tough decision on this having that product. So you can just convey your message to your higher authority and try to convey that product is will be better. So we have to do some benchmarking, and once they will ready for that benchmarking, so you can go for the benchmarking. Without senior management support you cannot do. So this is the initial stage where you can start your benchmarking. Okay, for benchmarking team and processes, training is very important. So doing only benchmarking, that is not solution. So we have to a talented team for doing the benchmarking. You should have a talented person such in such a way that he or she will be do the a good benchmarking. So for doing the benchmarking, we have to one separate benchmarking team in any organization. So benchmarking should be a team activity. It is not only doing a single person. So it is a team activity. So we have to create one separate team for the benchmarking. Those who are having some talent to that to complete that benchmarking activity. Okay. Benchmarking is an ongoing process. Already I have said this is the continuous improvement process where we have to achieve a better quality and output throughout this benchmarking. So it is ongoing process. हे कंटिन्यूस सुरू असतं. जसं येईल तसं आपण चेक करतो. आपल्याला हे नसेल मान्य तर आपण ह्याच्यापेक्षा अजून जास्त चांगल्या क्वालिटीकडे जातो. परत बेंचमार्किंग करतो. परत चालू असतं प्रोडक्शन. परत कधीतरी टाइम टू टाइम ओव्हर द पिरियड वी कॅन चेक द क्वालिटी. Again, we can go for the benchmarking. So benchmarking efforts must be organized, planned and carefully managed. बेंचमार्किंग कधी पण उठलं आणि चला करूया असं नाही. तर सिस्टमॅटिक पद्धत आहे. In the yearly we can set a period for the benchmarking. Okay, so once you just set the time for the benchmarking, you can continuously throughout the year you can go for the benchmarking. Okay. So suppose you can set after 6 months, after 8 months, okay, after yearly, you can set a period time, confirm time. You can according to that time you can do one simple plan for the making benchmarking, and you can do the benchmarking. Used can lead you to the competitive edge in today's business marketplace. तुम्ही जर हे व्यवस्थित पद्धत यूज केली, बरोबर पद्धतीने बेंचमार्किंग केलं, तर जे काही आता जगात कॉम्प्युटर आहेत मार्केटमध्ये तिथं तुम्ही टिकू शकाल आणि तुमची कंपनी फायद्यामध्ये जाईल. ठीक आहे. तर हे आहेत थोडे फॅक्टर्स जे तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग करण्या अगोदर थोडे विचारात घ्यायला पाहिजे. Then already we have seen the some advantages and disadvantages of the benchmarking in that videos, but we will go for the some highlights. So benchmarking is a systematic method, okay, by which organizations can measure themselves against the best industry practices. फायदा असा आहे की आपण दुसऱ्या का कुठल्या स्टँडर्ड्स कंपनी सोबत आपण कम्पेअर करून आपलं इम्प्रोव्हायझेशन करतोय. It promotes superior performance by providing an organized framework through which organization learn how the best in class do things. ठीक आहे. आपण काय करतोय, एक ऑर्गनायझेशनची जी काय स्टँडर्ड सेट करतोय जो खूप चांगला आहे आणि आपण आता इम्प्रोवाइज करायला चाललो आहे. त्याच्यातनं आपण एक काय शिकतोय गोष्ट की हे चांगल्यापेक्षा चांगलं पुढं करता येतं, ही गोष्ट आपण त्याच्यातून शिकतो. इट हेल्प्स फॉर कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रुव्हमेंट. ह्याच्यामधून फक्त आपल्याला काय मिळते, कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रुव्हमेंट मिळत जाते. जसं जसं तुम्ही बेंचमार्किंग कराल तसं तुम्हाला त्याचा फायदाच होतो. बेंचमार्किंग इन्स्पायर मॅनेजर्स अँड ऑर्गनायझेशन्स टू कम्पीट. म्हणजे मार्केटमध्ये तुम्हाला कम्पीट करण्यासाठी बेंचमार्किंग इन्स्पायर करते. म्हणजे आपण कुठं मागे नाही, आपण पुढेच आहे सगळ्याच्या, असं ते इन्स्पायर करून आपण आपला प्रोडक्ट मार्केटमध्ये सगळ्यांपेक्षा कसा चांगला आहे याच्यासाठी मदत करतं. थ्रू बेंचमार्क प्रोसेसेस ऑर्गनायझेशन कॅन borrow ideas, adapt and refine them to gain competitive advantages. जे काय आपण प्रोडक्ट तयार करण्यासाठी ज्या गोष्टी बारो आयडियाज अडॅप्ट अँड रिफाईन ही जी काही प्रोसेस आहे, ऑलरेडी आय हॅव डिफाईन टू यू हाऊ टू जस्ट refine our quality of the product throughout this benchmarking process, so it will be give some confidence to be in a competitive market sector. There are some disadvantages of this benchmarking. So what will be, we will see. The most resistant criticism of the benchmarking comes from the idea of the copying authors. याच्यामध्ये आपण बऱ्याच वेळा काय करतो, दुसऱ्यांच्या आयडिया कॉपी करतो, दुसऱ्यांचे थॉट्स, दुसऱ्यांचे जे काही प्रोसेस आहेत ते आपण कॉपी करतो. ते काय आहेत, हा एक रेजिस्टन्स म्हणजे काहीतरी एक विरोध करण्याच्या सारखी एक गोष्ट आहे. त्याच्यामुळे हा डिसएडव्हांटेज होऊ शकतो बेंचमार्किंगचा. ओके, म्हणजे कोणतं आपला क्रिटिसाइज करू शकतं की हे आमचं आहे, हे असं नाही, ड्यू टू कॉपीराइट्स. ओके, so benchmarking is not a panacea. Okay, it is not a strategy nor it is intended to be business philosophy. हे कुठलंही एक ही नाहीये, काय म्हणतात त्याला, की एक स्ट्रॅटजी नाहीये, ही एक सिंपल एक टाईप आहे, डेफिनेशन आहे की आपण असंच करू शकतो. पण हे कुठलं स्टँडर्ड स्ट्रॅटजी प्लॅन नाहीये किंवा बिझनेसची फिलॉसॉफी आपण तिथं वापरू शकत नाही. हे फक्त एक ऑर्गनायझेशनसाठी सुटेबल असणार एक टेक्निक आहे. हे कुठलंही एक स्ट्रॅटर्जी वगैरे फिलॉसॉफी वगैरे काही नाही. ठीक आहे. देअरफॉर इट इज अ टाइम टेकिंग टेक्निक. आणि हे काही झटपट होणारी गोष्ट नाहीये आणि ह्याला वेळ लागतो, कारण की आपण एखाद्या आपल्यापेक्षा जास्त चांगला असणारा स्टँडर्ड सेट करून आपण ते इम्प्रोवाइज करायचा प्रयत्न करतो. ही एक कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रुव्हमेंट प्रोसेस आहे. ही काय इन्स्टंटली येणारी आउटपुटची प्रोसेस नाहीये. सो इट विल बी टेक सम टाइम. ओके, सो these आर the some disadvantages of the benchmarking. So throughout this point we have got some conclusions from this benchmarking. So what are these? So nowadays more than 60% companies in the world uses this technique for feedback, for continuous improvement. आणि काय करतात, दुसरे ठेवतात की आपण बेंचमार्किंग करायचं आणि टार्गेट ठेवायचं 20% 30% इम्प्रुव्ह झालंच पाहिजे ऍज अ प्रिव्हियस डिझाईन. सो 60% देशामधल्या कंपनीमधल्या आता चालूला हे टेक्निक वापरतात. ठीक आहे. अँड फॉर देम इट इज अन इम्पॉर्टंट टूल. त्यांच्यासाठी हे खूप इम्पॉर्टंट टूल आहे कंटिन्युअस इम्प्रुव्हमेंटसाठी. ओके, तर बघा जगातल्या 60% कंपनी हे बेंचमार्किंग टूल यूज करतात. पण याचा डिसएडव्हांटेजेस काय की कुठलाही बिझनेस टूल नाहीये, हे कुठलीही स्ट्रॅटजी नाहीये, पण हे प्रत्येक ऑर्गनायझेशनसाठी लागणारी एक चांगलं टेक्निक आहे म्हणून ते वापरतात. बट टू बी इफेक्टिव्ह इट मस्ट बी युज्ड प्रॉपरली. जर तुम्हाला याचा इफेक्टिव्ह रिझल्ट हवा असेल तर हे प्रॉपरली टेक्निक यूज केलं तरच तुम्हाला याचा रिझल्ट मिळेल. It breaks down waste money, time, as well as energy, and sometimes moral too. If processes owners and managers feel threatened or do not accept and act on the findings. जर तुम्ही ही पद्धत वापरत असाल आणि ती जर व्यवस्थित वापरली नाही तर याच्यामध्ये काय होतं, तुम्ही जो केलेला इन्व्हेस्ट केलेला पैसा, तुमचा वेळ, तुमची एनर्जी आणि जे काही तुमचं मोरल असतं की आपण असं करू तसं करू, हे सगळं वाया जातं. कधी जर तुमचे मॅनेजर्स आणि ऑर्गनायझेशन ओनर जर त्यांनी जर पॉझिटिव्ह सपोर्ट किंवा त्यांचा असं फील नसेल, त्याचा तुम्हाला सपोर्ट नसेल आणि त्यांनी जर थोड्या काही अडचणी आणल्या तर हे सगळं वेस्ट जातं. ठीक आहे. फायनली बेंचमार्किंग इज नॉट अ सबस्टिट्यूट फॉर इनोव्हेशन. इनोव्हेशन साठी बेंचमार्किंग हे सबस्टिट्यूट कधीच नाही, हे लक्षात ठेवा. इनोव्हेशन आणि बेंचमार्किंग हे वेगळं. बेंचमार्किंग फक्त आपण नवीन टार्गेट अचीव्ह करण्यासाठीच यूज करतो, हे एक सिंपल टेक्निक आहे. इनोव्हेशन म्हणजे आपण नवीन काहीतरी टेक्निक मॉडिफाईड करतो, यूज करून मॉडिफाय करून नवीन आउटपुट निर्माण करतो, त्याचं इनोव्हेशन. इन्व्हेन्शन दॅट इज अ डिफरंट थिंग. However, it is a source of ideas from outside the organization. ठीक आहे. आणि आपल्याला दुसऱ्यांकडून बाहेरूनच ते बेंचमार्किंग ला आपल्याला काहीतरी एक इनपुट घ्यावं लागतं. सो इट इज अ सोर्स ऑफ द आउटसाइड फ्रॉम द ऑर्गनायझेशन. ओके, सो आय थॉट we have completed the first point, that is the benchmarking from this chapter number point 2, part 2. So benchmarking is very essential as for the every organization. So already we have discussed regarding the definition of the benchmarking, then uses of the benchmarking, some steps in benchmarking, importance of the benchmarking, then some processes, some areas where we can easily use the benchmarking, and some major guidance of the how to use the benchmarking. Okay, so benchmarking is simply using a simple technique for particular organization. It is not a strategy, it is not a business tool for using the in organization. लक्षात ठेवा हे फक्त एक टेक्निक आहे, ही काही स्ट्रॅटर्जी नाहीये. ठीक आहे. So this is just regarding the benchmarking. So remaining part, that is the next point, that is a quality management system and environmental management system. We will see just. Okay, so before moving that quality management system, we will see some ISO 9000 series standards. Already we have discussed regarding that ISO standards. So it was just formulated by the international organization for the standardization. Okay, so if you are purchasing any product in market, you have to first see that product which has having ISO standards or not. Means as per the government rules and regulation, that industry have manufacturing that product, yes or no. Okay, so in order to meet the requirement of internationally uniform quality system, इंटरनॅशनली जे काही रूल बनवलं आहे की नाही, आणि त्याला सगळ्या गोष्टी विचारात घेऊन गव्हर्नमेंटचे असतील, इंडस्ट्रीचे रूल्स हे सगळे विचारात घेऊन केले असेल तर त्याच्यावरती तो ISOचा शिक्का असतो. ह्याची एक खात्री करणे, त्याचा हा एक बेनिफिट असतो की आपल्याला स्टँडर्ड्स प्रमाणे तो प्रोडक्ट भेटतो. As a guidelines and minimum requirements for making quality and services conforming to the needs of the customer. सगळ्या गोष्टी कस्टमरच्या गरजेनुसार विचारात घेऊनच ते तयार केलेले असतात ISO स्टँडर्ड्स. These are the developed for facilitating international exchange of the goods and services. आपल्याला ह्या गोष्टी विचार करूनच हे ISO स्टँडर्ड केलेले असतात की जेणेकरून त्या गोष्टी आपण इंटरनॅशनली एक्सचेंज करू शकतो आणि ज्याच्या प्रोडक्टची आपण खरेदी करू शकतो आणि त्या सर्व्हिसेस आपल्याला मिळू शकतात. ठीक आहे. तर नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आपला क्वालिटी मॅनेजमेंट सिस्टम. तर ह्याच्यामध्ये टोटली जे काय इंडस्ट्रीसाठी ऑर्गनायझेशनसाठी जे काय ISO स्टँडर्ड सेट केलेले आहेत त्याची whatever regarding that ISO standard information is there, so that will be discussing in the next lecture. So there are n number of the ISO standard series is there, so that also we will see, and what are the importance of that ISO standard, that we will discuss. Then benefits to become any ISO standard for any organization, any company. So what is exactly benefits, that we will see, and there are some advantages, disadvantages, and then quality management system of flowchart, how it will be works. So that things we will see in next lecture. Okay, so today we have learned just simple thing and very important as per your industrial knowledge and as per your personal knowledge also. So you can take this benchmarking as your personal thing also. You can just set your first goal and try to achieve that goal up to 80%. Once you achieve that first benchmarking level 1, then again you can just set a second level, a standard second target. Once you achieve the 80%, then you can set next time 85 to 90%, then try to achieve, again go for the recycle, then third cycle benchmark, fourth cycle, and once you achieve the 100%, then you can try for the higher than this. Okay, so these are the some benchmarking advantages. So I thought we have to stop here, so I will just stop here, and whatever the remaining part of this chapter, that part we will see in next lecture. Okay, so remaining time, that is a 2:20 is near about here, remaining 40 minutes I will just send quiz on the chapter third. Those who are remaining to complete that quiz, so that quiz you can just complete in the remaining this 40 minutes. Okay, I will share that quiz link on the our WhatsApp group. Okay, so I request Yasser, please stop the recording. We'll stop here. So thank you so much for